By the time Poison were ready to record Native Tongue, their fourth LP, a lot had changed. The music scene was completely different to when they released Flesh and Blood, and they were down their lead guitarist. What to do? What to do? I've previously visited the B-sides of Poison when I explored Gotta Face the Hangman, link in the description below. But today we're going back to their divisive fourth album. I must admit, when I first bought Native Tongue, I was underwhelmed. Gone was the glam stylings of their previous releases, and instead there was a darkness, a bluesiness, and a commitment to maturity. Something that for sure they had signalled in Flesh and Blood. And yes, there were tracks that I liked, but nothing was as immediate as Talk Dirty to Me, Nothing But a Good Time, Fallen Angel, or even Unskinny Bop. But time gives you a new perspective on things, and has been a welcome rediscovery of just how good Native Tongue is. So, let's throw ourselves back into the early 90s as we get down and dirty on this episode of Shoulda Been on the Album. This was the moment that it became publicly known that things were not going well in Poison's world.
Sing it!
Well, actually, they need no introduction, right? I'll give them one anyway.
The disastrous live performance at the MTV Music Video Awards signalled that the relationship between CeCe DeVille and Bret Michaels had soured. There were rumours of fistfights, drug abuse and more, including that the band was close to splitting.
Rumors that the rock band Poison is on its last legs may turn out to be true, according to lead singer Bret Michaels. In an interview in the new issue of Rip magazine, Michaels says the guitarist CeCe DeVille and bassist Bobby Dahl, who've been rumored to have serious drug problems, have in fact both checked into drug treatment programs.
Soon after that performance, CeCe was fired and was soon replaced by guitar virtuoso Richie Kotzen. Bret Michaels has said, "I was never more depressed than that night. I went over to an Italian place called Marcelli's and got shit-faced drunk. It was a realization that we knew what was happening and we knew what was going on. Neither of us believed in each other." Blue Saraceno was also in the mix after the band went through some 3,000 demo tapes. Ricky Rocket and Bobby Dahl wanted Saraceno, but Michaels wanted Kotzen. Kotzen had already released 3 albums showcasing his writing and performance skills, and while it seemed like an odd fit at the time, Poison would step into the studio and begin work on Native Tongue. Kotzen brought a series of songs with him, including Stand, Until You Suffer Some Fire and Ice, Body Talk, and 7 Days Over You. Kotzen has said, "I joined a band that really opened the creative door for me to do whatever the hell I wanted. The only difference is that I co-wrote the lyrics with Bret Michaels and he was the lead singer. But they couldn't have treated me better on a creative level during that process." When the album was released, it was greeted with mixed reviews, and fans generally avoided it. With a darker image and a completely different sound, Native Tongue struggled to find an audience. While the single Stand found some radio play and success, it was nothing compared to what the band were used to. Second single, Until You Suffer Some Fire and Ice, didn't fare any better. Again, Kotzen is quoted saying, "By the time the second single was ready, MTV had started turning away bands from our era. We got caught up in that, which was unfortunate." Still, the band toured the album, but it was on this tour that things went pear-shaped, with an affair between Kotzen and Ricky Rocket's girlfriend resulting in Kotzen's firing from the band. Poison would bring in Blue Saraceno to finish up the tour. With hindsight in play, both Kotzen and Michaels have gone on record saying they believe they made a great recording. And while it's a very different sounding Poison, there's no denying that there are some great tracks. So let's go back to the first single and check out a song that didn't make the final cut of Native Tongue. The song, Whip Comes Down. Whip Comes Down was written by Kotzen and Michaels along with credits to Bobby Dahl and Ricky Rocket, and was produced by Richie Zito, who also produced the Native Tongue album. It appeared on the flip side of their first single, Stand. There are promo releases of the song which entitles it When the Whip Comes Down, and the song was eventually included on a limited edition vinyl re-release of Native Tongue. Lyrically, it finds Bret Michaels in a frisky mood.
Listen up, there's one thing I got to make clear. Alright. Search no more, child, you want it, I got it right here. Oh yes I do.
And he's convinced that he's the one to show the woman of his desires exactly what true love is.
Now, I'm no stranger to what you're going through. If you're willing to, I'll show you what good love can do.
Further, Michaels is more than willing to set the scene for her.
Cue the lights, that's when everything comes into view. Oh, yes it does. Taking me time to let me wrong all the right out of you. Oh, yes I will.
The chorus leaves no allusions to his intentions.
Baby, tonight's when the whip comes down. Hold on, I'll show you what love's about. Tonight when the whip comes down.
And then he makes one final play for her.
Come on, baby, let me light your fire. Burning up in your desire. Come on, baby, take my hand. I'll lead you to the promised land.
Yep, it's lyrically quite standard Poison fare, reminiscent of some of the tracks from Flesh and Blood, but less overt than, say, You Can Look But You Can't Touch or Want Some Need Some. Indeed, it's more of a mature form of seduction from the band. Musically, Whip Comes Down is very much in the Native Tongue style and sound. It's bluesy, and Kotzon's influence is all over the track, from the wah-wah guitar and low-key intro to quite a slick guitar solo in the middle of the song. Michaels is in fine voice, and the rhythm section of Doll and Rocket is solid and reliable. Whip Comes Down is more melodic than some other tracks on Native Tongue, and has a solid chorus to carry it along. And for a B-side, it's pretty damn good. So, let's have a look back at the album and see if we can find a spot for Whip Comes Down. Native Tongue opens with a rhythmic intro, which then launches into the excellent The Scream. First single, Stand, comes next, and then we hit song 4, Stay Alive. And this is where our problem actually is, but I'm going to come back to it in a moment. So let's put a pin in this song for just 1 second. Second single, Until You Suffer Some Fire and Ice, is followed by third single, Body Talk, with a very catchy chorus that is more like the Poison we're used to hearing. Side 1 finishes with the dark and brooding Bring It Home, with a nod to Led Zeppelin, and it's gutsier, tougher and more rhythmic than we've heard previously from Poison. Yep, side 1 is pretty damn good, but I can understand why old school fans didn't get into it when it was first released. This is a different sounding Poison, but one that was more than hinted at in Flesh and Blood. On to side 2. We open side 2 with the absolutely excellent 7 Days Over You, complete with a cracker chorus and more Poison style lyric. Richie's acoustic thing is a little interlude before we rock into Ain't That the Truth. This again sounds more like the Poison we're used to. Next comes Theatre of the Soul, an excellent ballad that definitely has its roots in Every Rose Has Its Thorn. In fact, the chord structure is very similar, and there's a little lyrical callback to Fallen Angel. But the backing vocals of Can't Run, Can't Hide, Can't Get Nothing Right Lately just hits so hard. Then we get to Strike Up the Band, a concert opener if there ever was one, and another song that is just like the Poison we know and love. Ride, Child Ride and Blind Faith are a nice 1-2 back end of side 2, with their sing-along choruses and mid-tempo grooves. Probably the worst song on the album is the last track, Bastard Son of 1,000 Blues, which just fails to connect. Poor Boy Blues from Flesh and Blood is definitely better. So, Whip Comes Down goes here, right? Get rid of the last song and put in the B-side, right? Right? Well, not quite. Let's go back to Stay Alive on side 1 and pull out that pin. Stay Alive bears more than a passing resemblance to Whip Comes Down. Here's the opening of Stay Alive. And now Whip Comes Down. But that resemblance is even more obvious in the first line of both songs.
Listen up, child, there's one thing I got to make clear. Listen up, there's one thing I got to make clear.
Ah, I see the problem. They're practically the same. Now, I know they end up being different, but you cannot deny the closeness of the two. It makes me wonder which song was written and recorded first. Maybe Whip Comes Down was their first shot, and then after some jamming and some tweaking, Stay Alive was the result. Yet, that leaves one more question. Which one is better, Stay Alive or Whip Comes Down? Lyrically, Stay Alive has more depth, and it's a song about Bobby Doll's own struggle with substances and his inner demons. Whereas Whip Comes Down is pretty much about, well, making out. Stay Alive also has more interesting instrumentation and chord structures. But the chorus in Whip Comes Down is a little more immediate. What to do? Ultimately, I think the band made the right call. Stay Alive has just a little more gravitas. While Whip Comes Down is a fine track, Stay Alive pips it. But maybe, only just. I have to admit, like I said before, I was one of the many fans that really didn't take to Native Tongue when it was first released. But also, like many, now that I'm older, wiser, I don't know about that, I appreciate the album more. The songs are solid. Perhaps there's nothing as immediate as the band's first 3 albums, and certainly not as party anthem-like, although 7 Days Over You and Strike Up the Band do come close. But it's clear they were aiming for a more mature sound, and they definitely crafted an excellent album that's worth a revisit. So what do you think? Stay Alive or Whip Comes Down? Do you rate either? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have a rare track or B-side that you reckon I should check out, let me know by dropping a comment below or emailing me on shouldvebeenonthealbum@gmail.com. Plus, you can follow us on all of the socials. Links are in the description. And don't forget to do all of the liking and subscribing and sharing, plus giving us a thumbs up or just sticking around for the blooper reel at the end of the credits. All of that stuff really, really helps, and I'm so glad that you are here with me on this journey, checking out some amazing rare cuts. But until next time, my name is Drew, and you've been watching Should Have Been on the Album. Cheers. To do. I've previously visited this f***ing hell, and we knew what was going on. Neither of us nuts. Shit. Learn to talk, Drew. The song Whip Comes Down.